Well, folks, you are never going to believe this, but apparently, while I was taking a break, my microphone came unplugged, so I am recording this audio well after the fact, which is interesting because I have no idea what I was saying in the original audio. I don't know what my thought process was. Why are we just standing here right now? Why is Jen sitting down? What am I commentating on right now? I don't know. You don't know. None of us will ever know. It's gone. It doesn't exist. You know, I've commented before many times that if you want to watch gameplay, why am I playing with the rewind? I probably just remembered I could do that. If you want to watch gameplay with no commentary, plenty of channels available to do that, but this is exactly the problem. Okay, right here we're checking to see if Scissorman is in the room before proceeding. It's weird, I'm doing a reaction to my own content. Very, very strange. See, we're getting paranoid. Anyway, let's talk about the game. Interesting game. Longtime viewers of the channel know that horror is my jam, as the kids say, and I like survival horror in particular. To remind everyone, my 3 criteria for a good horror game are 1. Isolation, 2. Limited resources, and 3. A credible threat. This game meets all 3 of those criteria, which I quite enjoy. Also, it is warm in here, so I'm going to do my best to get this on the first try. This is a very early example in the survival horror genre, and so that's the thing, right, is what differentiates survival horror from other kinds of horror? It really, I guess, come right down to it, it's the same qualities that I look for in horror games in general. We're definitely isolated. There are companions around, but we know that 2 of them are dead. The 3rd one probably will be soon. And I don't think we can count on Miss Mary. I'm trying to see if we can open any of the boxes that we can see. We found a secret room. Clearly a prison of some kind. I am curious about the walls in here, because it does kind of imply that this room was built as a containment cell. But in that case, why bother painting over the doors? I don't know. It looks like a medical chart. The name of the patient is Mary Barrows. Mary's evil, in case anyone hadn't already worked that out. Mary Barrows. Possibly Miss Mary? Yeah, see, like, I could just sit here silently and let the game run, but what fun would that be? Sorry, I'm getting distracted watching the video. Walter Simpson, actually this is important. This is a critical plot point, and I'm very annoyed that I lost the original audio for this. Dad! That's right, amazingly, against all odds, it appears to be Jennifer's father trapped in this room. Well, he's not trapped anymore, he's quite dead. There's a piece of paper in its hand. Okay, I will read this to you. We got an achievement for finding this. This is either November 10th or October 11th, 1986. Dr. Walter Simpson's notes. It has been 3 days since I was locked away. I don't think I will last much longer. Before my life ends, I have to record everything I know about the twins who will bring calamity to the world. I was called in to deliver Miss Barrows' baby. And that's when she gave birth to them, the demonic children. My right hand was bitten off as they exited their mother's womb. Bitten clean off by a baby. Their bodies haven't fully developed, so they probably won't be able to live more than a few days. But if, as you read this, they happen to still be alive, please bring an end to their existence somehow. If you're reading this, kill these children. I'm certain that something horrible will happen if they remain alive. It's hard to breathe in here. The room seems to be losing its oxygen as I write this. The cradle under the star, that's where they sleep deeply. Very cryptic, not very helpful. Jennifer. Jennifer. See, I appreciate that he not only took the time to write her name as he was dying, but he wrote it multiple times, and the spacing increases as he dies. Which is hilarious, because I also tend to write how I speak. Alright, so at this point we know a couple of things. One, Mary is in on this, and two, there's at least one other child in the house somewhere. Although I dare say at this point, Scissorman is not a child, he's a stumpy man. Well, these things happen. And we're going to drop a save. That's probably wise. You know the annoying thing about this is I can't even do captions. What am I going to do? Record the dialogue and then respond to the recorded dialogue in the captions? That's too many layers. So it is interesting. This came out, I believe, the year before the original Resident Evil. This came out in '95 on the Super Nintendo, or I guess technically the Super Famicom, since the original version of the game never had a release outside Japan. And then Resident Evil... Oh, here he comes. Oh, we're gonna rewind. Remembering I have superpowers. Yeah, and then Resident Evil came out in '96 on several different platforms, but primarily the PlayStation 1, or just the PlayStation at the time. We didn't know there would be a second. Why did I go the same way the second time? Weird. Run, run, run. Definitely, this might be the original Run, Hide, Die game. The same lineage in which we find, for example, Outlast. Also on this channel, if you're interested. Run, Hide, Die games, a particular subset of survival horror. A subgenre of a subgenre. Very meta. Because we can run, and we can sort of hide. There are limited places to do it, which is fine. We can fight back a little bit. We can temporarily discourage the threat. Yeah, the mannequin room. I don't know what this room's about. I don't think we have to come here at any point. It's just kind of here. Very creepy. There's no reason for this to be here. Unless this is where Mary keeps her ball gowns. This whole house gives me Old South vibes. Right? Okay, here we go. We're about to discover something absolutely game-changing. As soon as I remember where it is. I do think it was a bad choice to have her stop moving every time hedge clipper guy enters the room. Really, that's just awkward. Okay, here we go. Check this out. Yoink. Oh no. And we can do that every time. We can do that as many times as we want. He falls for it every single time. And saving the game. Resident Evil explicitly cites Sweet Home, which came out in 1989 for the original Nintendo Entertainment System, or just the Famicom, if we're playing it in Japan. I don't think Sweet Home ever got an official international release either. I could be wrong about that. I wouldn't be surprised if this was also an inspiration for Resident Evil, although they were probably working on that game at the time this came out, so who knows. And haunted houses aren't exactly an uncommon thing in horror games, particularly in survival horror games. Actually, I got some notes here on this. Oh, what? Why did I do that? This is so weird. Like, we can go all the way back to 1980 looking at Mystery House for the Apple II. Very early example, and I know that there were earlier games, like the original Zork was also set in a spooky mansion, but that was just an adventure game. That wasn't a survival horror game. That wasn't even a horror game. Yeah, see, like, the mannequins fall over. One of them's gonna lose her head here in a second, and I don't know what the point of this room is, except to spook us, because I don't think there's any mechanical reason to come in here. But anyway, Mystery House, 1980, Apple II. Haunted House, 1982 for the Atari 2600. Ghost House, 1986 for the Master System. Splatterhouse, 88 for a whole bunch of different platforms. Now, Ghost House and Splatterhouse are action games. They're not survival horror, but we're talking about haunted houses in horror games here. And then a little after a little after Sweet Home, but before this and Resident Evil, I think Alone in the Dark was 92. But the original Alone in the Dark was set in a haunted house. So it's been a thing for a while, and I have to imagine that every game of this type was building on every game that came before it. You see, we're looking around. What's the weird noise? The mannequins are moving. But there's no, like, terror gauge. The mannequins don't attack us. And I don't think any items ever appear in this room. At this point, I haven't yet learned that the game is semi-randomized. But honestly, this is a great way to do it. You just have a house full of rooms and let the player explore, and they could totally randomize every room in this, and it would not diminish the experience. It would make it kind of a roguelike, even, at that point. I feel like there's some information in this game that we might have gotten in the original manual that's just not shared in-game. It looks like there's a courtyard outside. Never did figure out how to get into the courtyard. I'm recording this after having finished the game several times, so I'm trying not to spoil too much. Something stuck behind the door. Never figured out how to get in there. I think for someone who had never played a horror game before, this would be fairly challenging. Also, it's got to be said, point and clicks on consoles have always been kind of iffy. The D-pad is just not a great mechanism for using a mouse cursor. It's always awkward. Bunch of shattered glass in here, broken table. And I think this is a room in which items can spawn, and that just didn't happen for us this time. Fortunately, there's no murderous parakeet in here. That's right, Jen. Fix your hair. And since I'm just sitting here listening to it, thanks once again to Tim Kulig for letting me abuse the royalty-free music he puts up on his website. Oh! This room looks exactly like the mural I saw in the other room. Exactly? This music, it's reminding me of something. Are we riffing on, what, the Halloween theme? It's channeling something. I do also like horror movies, but not generally slasher flicks. I just find it kind of boring to watch people get murdered for 2 hours. There are exceptions. The original Alien from 1979 is my favorite movie ever. I think it is a perfect movie, for reasons I will not go into here. It's written in strange letters and symbols. Jen, you can't read. To bring time to a standstill. I wonder what it means. Of course, Jen doesn't know the game's called Clock Tower. The cradle under the star. Something must be under here. Never found a use for the ham. There's an achievement for using the ham. And I don't think the rock's useful at all. I don't know. Well, anyway. And of course, it makes sense that haunted houses get used so much in movies and games. It's a safe bet, you know? You got just a bunch of rooms. You're in a remote area with a lot of rooms. You just put things in the rooms, let the player wander from room to room, and occasionally get chased down the hallways. It works. This is my favorite ambush in the whole game. It's a record player. It's not plugged in. Kind of surprised they have an electric record player in this house. I might expect a Victrola or something. Now see, I'm actually trying here. Oh, look, there he is. Come on, do the thing. See, I'm actually trying to pick up that gold thing there on the ground, thinking that's an item, but it's just the fringe on the curtain. So it's a complete coincidence that there is actually something useful over here. We collected a mysterious object. A metal cane is sticking out of the vase. See, and I like rooms like this because you can tell exactly what's going to happen, but the player will choose to trigger the ambush just to see what happens. It's beautiful game design. Nothing but junk in there. I think possibly key items can spawn in there. Just beautiful. Ridiculous and menacing all at the same time. And here's where I wonder, wait. Can I do this every time? No, get up them stairs, come on. You want to die? Let's be honest, there's not that much difference between the live audio and my post-recorded monologue here. I think it is fascinating that the sound is directional. That you can hear him moving from right to left. That is really amazing. And I don't know if that was in the original or not. If it was in the original, that's especially great considering when this game came out. Here he comes! There he goes! He falls for it again! He wants to kill her so badly that he forgets... saving again. That he forgets that she bamboozled him before. Kind of disappointing you can't do anything with that statue with the rope wrapped around it. Maybe you can sometimes. I don't know. Maybe there's an item that spawns there sometimes. If I were to run like a tabletop role-playing game for someone who'd never played a horror game before, or a tabletop game, I might just rip this off completely. Just copy down the map of the house, which I've done. I have made a map. I will use it in the next episode. Randomize the rooms, let them wander around. That's a different rubble pile. I do remember I spent a lot of time in this episode wondering if I was looping around the map, and it's not possible. The map does not loop. I don't know why I ever thought it did. That makes no sense. Yoink them flowers out the vase. You gotta hand it to her. Once she realizes what she has to do to survive, she just goes ahead and does it. I guess she's committed to saving whoever's still alive at this point, although she knows that 2 of them are dead. Okay, so I can tell you what's happening here in a moment. Oh, there goes somebody. It's got to be Mary. There's nobody else here. And there's a dog. And I figure out pretty quickly, I need a disguise to get past the dog. That part makes sense, but it won't let you use the robe on yourself. There's something there. Yeah, it's a dog. Just get closer. See, you'd think, oh, maybe this is where we use the ham to distract the dog, but no, this is not where you use the ham. And then the dog murders us. They don't show that for some reason. So we're trying to figure out how to use the robe. And I get it into my head that maybe I'm just not standing in the right spot, because everything else here has required a particular positioning and timing. So now I'm asking, how close do I have to get to the dog before it lets me use the robe? Reset. The dog is aware of us, but for some reason it doesn't attack. A little closer. A little closer! Come on, just a little closer. Go pet the puppy. See, here's the crazy thing. You gotta be right on top of it, but not quite touching it. Okay, and then I think, oh, but the dog can smell us, right? And, yep, very familiar with the scent. She specifically called out, yes, that this is Mary's perfume when she found it. And now the dog lets us pass, suggesting that the person in the robe is in fact Mary. And then for some reason, she discards the robe. It no longer exists. Once you get to this point, they lock you into this area. Very odd choice on Jennifer's part. I'm trying to get her killed. I'm deliberately trying to make the dog attack her. Because I enjoyed Stasis. That was a good game if you enjoy creative suicides. Well, let's see what's down this way. It's Lottie! Lottie! You're still alive! Well... This looks like some kind of ritual sacrifice. Go to the clock tower. The switches. Okay. And then she dies. Unclear what's happened to her. Maybe she was poisoned. She's not lying in a pool of blood or anything. Maybe she just got tired of living. By this point, I'm kind of surprised Jen hasn't given up. By the way, I guarantee you are not prepared for what's about to happen. Out of everything you were expecting to find in the basement, it is not going to be what's actually down here. No, don't bother saving, it won't help you. Oh look, switches. Ah. That's it, no further commentary. Nothing to add. For some reason we can look at the table. I don't know. Why is there a table in a place like this? Very good question. I imagine just to fill out the scenery. There's a tin can. Looks like there's kerosene in it. You assume to power a generator or something. Because otherwise, why would there be kerosene down here? They're using candles to light the joint. She is a rugged lass, isn't she? Honestly, I really appreciate it. She is no delicate flower. Alright, here we go. You ready for this? Ah. If you had giant baby, collect your prize in the comments below. This is the dramatically appropriate moment for a trip and fall. And you think, oh, can it swim? Doesn't matter. Water's not that deep. And I can tell you what's happening here. I am not hitting the panic button. It does not occur to me to do that. I think we're just watching an animation. So when we die here, it is very confusing. Alright, I'm gonna go upload this. Catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, folks.